Ladies and gentlemen, you don't watch Team Absolution for the decklist videos, the gameplay, none of that matters. You're here for the controversy. And today that controversy involves Premium and the Premium Collection. Stick around. Alright, you clicked on the clickbaity title. Let's get right to the meat of it. Premium Collection 2019. Did this kill the premium format?
Reaction shots.
Yeah.
Reaction shots with thumbnail reaction shots. Me going like this.
Yeah, beautiful. I think we got enough of that, right?
Excellent,
Alright.
Proceeding.
So, with this clickbaity title, we want to discuss with you guys what went down with this collection, because I think it was some very interesting and controversial plays that were made by Bushiroad.
Let's start with the fun stuff. We also were talking about, way back when, the Premium Collection. Great idea. Build Premium up.
Exactly.
Give new relevant cards to each and every deck. What could possibly go wrong? Things went wrong.
That's right. Yeah. We're all holding our heads, everything's on fire.
This is fine.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of this is fine. I'm trying to sip my tea. It's not working out. There's too much flames. So, with the Premium Collection, what we saw was a divide in the Premium meta. I think it was the first thing that's very readily obvious. There are a solid 5 decks that are the top dogs in Premium. That is Luard, Ichikishima, Victor, Azel Gold Paladins, and then the last slot kind of varies a little bit. Sometimes we see Neo Nectar, sometimes we see Anji.
Sometimes we see Dark Regulars.
Yes, Dark Regulars also slides in there.
So the health of the meta exists in the 6th and the 5th slot, I would say.
That's right. So we have, on the surface, I don't think that looks too bad when you were to analyze it. Objectively speaking, if I didn't know anything about Vanguard or Premium meta, and I saw there are 6 good decks right now, all at the top, vying for the top spot, I'd be like...
Did we even mention Neo Nectar? Because Neo Nectar's up there too.
Yeah, Neo Nectar as well, definitely. Good old Katrina. So all of these things, I would think, outside looking in, that's pretty diverse up the top.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And not everyone's playing the same thing. But you are all playing the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
be real about that.
I see all of you right there, especially you friends. I'm watching you specifically. So anyways, with this, what this divide has caused is that those decks all kill you by first stride, or are very likely to just end your life by first stride. And if not, then definitely by second stride. You're going to be absolutely
because
blown out of the game.
All of the new premium strides that say, well, you just get to murder your opponent for free, they're not persona flips. Even if they were, you could still play 4 in that second stride.
Exactly. It's not even what was power creep for these strides. This was just straight gun it over the cliff. We just went full speed ahead.
Did you just say we jumped the shark?
Yeah, we did in fact jump the shark. So, I don't even know how to call this power creep, because it's not even anywhere remotely close to that. This was just
this is power. This is a power stride.
Yeah,
right
power
here.
stride.
Pardon my pun.
That's right. So, the huge issue with this is that, one, the game is just accelerated to such a degree that G-Guards really are, water G-Guards. They definitely should have been in this Premium Collection. That's going to be a point I'm going to bring up later to this. But the aggression went through the roof with very little defense to compensate for that, which I think is the first big issue.
Straight aggression wouldn't be so much of a problem, though, if the second issue wasn't all of these decks now get to kill you in ways that feel really, really awful.
Yes, this I think is the big crux of the Premium meta right now, is that a lot of the decks that we just mentioned to you guys, Luard, Ichi, Azel, so on and so forth, kill you in extremely uninteractive and unfun ways in terms of the overall game design philosophy for trading card games. And I think the easiest one of those to start out with is Luard. Because what happens with Luard is Luard has a great grade 2 game, and then goes into Morfessa immediately, and you just cycle through your deck using the Cursed Eye Ravens and the grade 2 Nisa, I think, or Nisha. I'm going to use the proper Irish translation, everyone. And that just lets you turbo through your deck, so you have very few cards that aren't just high-quality triggers left in your deck. Stand and have multiple battle doors with crits, and you just die. But the issue with all of this is that this turn takes, especially in the hands of an inexperienced player, well upwards of like 10 to 15 minutes to work out. And depending on like where the person is, it might just take them a long time to do. And one, that does not make for a good tournament experience whatsoever.
Judge, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get a hot dog. Can you just sit here while he does this? Thank you.
Yeah, exactly right. That was this was always seen in Magic the Gathering with a deck called Eggs. I don't know if you're...
There's the
Yes.
exact anecdote
Awesome.
where a pro player asked the judge to sit in the seat while he went to go take a poop.
Yeah.
The guy just played Eggs across from the judge.
Mm-hmm. So this is our sort of equivalent to Eggs right now. Obviously, it's not quite as long as those turns were absolutely insane. It was
They have hour
absurd.
rounds.
Yeah, but still, you know, if you just sit there for 10 minutes, what's fun about that? You know, you're not doing anything. Your opponent is just over there playing solitaire, and you're like, cool, I guess I'll go on my phone, check out my newsfeed. Was that a notification? Oh, it's only Facebook saying it's my birthday. Sadness. So,
I guess I'm gonna roll those orbs for my latest wife.
yeah, that's right. So, one that is extremely uninteractive and you just die. Not fun. Let's go to another deck.
That's exactly the same for different reasons.
Yeah.
Let's talk
pretty
about
much.
Bustard.
Yeah. So Bustard, once again, and to be honest, Bustard is a little bit fairer than a lot of
little
these.
more fair, but he's just as not fun.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I wonder when I'll die. It's gonna happen, but when is it?
Mm-hmm.
Death's always around the corner.
That's right. Got a big old baseball bat, 2x4 with just like rusty nails. And Bustard, in the same fashion, has multiple attacks. You say anywhere from 6 to 8. Gets drives out the wazoo. It's just like, this is a casual 8 drives because I messed up and forgot that I could have actually gotten 10.
Oops.
So, yeah, there you go. And then you just bend over to Bustard, just swinging into you. And what's also great about this one is that the whole board has resist. So you can't even do anything about it. So
Yeah,
it's
almost,
just like...
again, defense is just non-existent against this board. You can't stop them from attacking.
Mhm.
You're just going to lose.
Yeah, so you're just like, 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks.
That's like-
here's the train from Bustard.
That's
You're dead.
like, it's anywhere from like 9 to 15 drives.
Yeah, that's right.
On a pretty good day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just sneeze and suddenly we have an extra 5 drives. Like, you don't know what happened, but it just happened. You have more drives.
Could you ever imagine a card that you could turn sideways in Vanguard and stand it back up and it has 5 drives?
Yeah.
Remember we thought the Purge was good? No.
Mhm. Yeah.
No.
That's right. So, that's already just big.
Azel can do all of this while you're on grade 2. So that what happened to the grade 2 game?
Mhm.
I heard that was fun.
Uh-huh.
Too bad you don't get to play.
Exactly. And that's also another thing about that. Now, we go move over to the Gold Paladin deck, speaking of other aggressive decks in this format, is just, I wrote to grade 1. Why is my opponent striding right now? You know? It's just like, what was fun about that? I was just trying to play my game, and my opponent just did what I was doing, but 10 times faster than what I was doing, for literally no reason. It just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I enjoyed myself. I'll just scoop up my cards and go
the
play
only thing you
somewhere
can do
else.
against Gold Paladins is not attack them.
Yeah.
And that's equally not fun because that's one of the things you're supposed to be able to do is attack your opponent.
Yeah.
Not since the days of like very early Vanguard has it ever been super optimal to just not give your opponent the damage so they can't superior ride Blaster Blade from Bartgol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about here.
Wow, that is a throwback right there.
Yeah.
And I know that now just kind of take a small tangent to all of these points that we were making, is that at its crux, when you have a card game that has set rules, and this is how the game is supposed to be played, and you say, fuck that, doesn't matter about this, you're just going to go in and die.
Thanks
You're
for the demonetization key.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, sadness.
I don't care.
And yeah, so that's just really bad game design. Like, what was the point then in establishing any sort of rules / how this game was supposed to be played if you were just going to throw it out the window? You know?
Exactly.
So that's another big issue. And then speaking of things where you just don't get to play the game, Ichikishima as the probably target and public enemy number 1 in regards to this, I'm just like, the one way Vanguard already does not have a lot of interaction
That's
in this
why
game.
some of us like it, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you can want games to have varying degrees of interaction, but you need to have some level. Otherwise, you might as well just play solitaire by yourself. Because,
Exactly.
what otherwise is the point? So there is some finite level of interaction in Vanguard. And what Ichikishima does, which is guarding, basically, on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
That's how you interact with your opponent. And then, of course, you might have some effects like retire and whatnot, but that's beside the point. Ichikishima just says no. Like, you don't get to guard.
You don't get to do
It's
anything.
just like, yeah, oh, I'm just going to take this damage. There's nothing I can do about it. The damage is just happening because everything is just unguardable. And you're like...
And there's very little setup for that. It's literally just Ichi.
Mm-hmm.
You can optionally play the stand trigger that also makes it feel worse for your opponent. You can optionally play Tom, which makes it feel worse for your opponent. You can optionally add other things that make this varying degrees better or worse. But the main thing is, it's just Ichi and whatever other options you decide to play. The deck totally revolves around Ichi, and that's it. You don't need to set up a very specific combo like you would with Genesis. You can just put Ichi on board, throw out whatever else you decided to play or draw into, and win the same way as you would of any other turn.
Yeah, there's basically no thought involved in that at all. Like, it's not... Because, yeah, you could give it to someone where, you know, if you have a big game-ending turn, it's fine if you are working all the way towards this. You know, you're setting up your plays, everything is going... But if you could just, like, face plan down what exactly you're going to do, and it just happens anyways, what's the fun in that?
Exactly.
You know? So, that is another huge notch, in my opinion, or drop against Premium. And I think that brings to a big point about a lot of these decks, Ryan, that I want to discuss with you, is that they're either extremely uninteractive, or another really good example of decks that just are just terrible to play against are prison lockdown type decks. So we have on one end this incredibly uninteractive decks.
Bulldozer type.
Yeah, that's right. We got like FTKs basically where you just sit across and you just lose. You don't get to do anything, you just lose. And then, you know, that can be kind of encapsulated by stuff like Azel and Luard. Obviously not exactly correct, but in that same variant. And then Prison Lockdown, where you literally do not get to play the game, and your opponent just wins. So stuff like, I think a good example of people who played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before is the wind-up loop, where you just discard your entire hand on grade 1, or not grade 1, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Turn 1, and then you just have to top deck and just see if you get an answer, and then that card also ends up disappearing, so you don't get to play ever during this game.
Exactly, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had this problem multiple times. It had Fish Synchro. It had X-Saber Gotham's loop before that. There are multiple hand loops in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, just choose your poison.
Yeah, exactly. But think about the ultimate prison lockdown deck we have in Vanguard is Mega Colony, and that deck's not even good enough to produce results.
Yes. That is highly concerning, in my opinion.
When you're playing a tier 2, you don't get to play the game deck, that's wild to me.
Yeah, it really is, because that should be, with the power level of that, should be like well up there with the contenders that we mentioned at the start of this video. But it's nowhere to be seen, basically. I think I've seen one small top in regards to this, and that was it for Mega Colony. So Prison Lockdown is just dead in this current thing. Even though it's present, it's widely there, and it actually just eats some decks up in Premium if you do play against it.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere to be found at the top tables. So these are all just highly concerning issues, I think, for the game, because one of the big things that I hear individuals say when I've been talking on Discords, you guys know who you are, is that although Premium has these issues, the grade 2 game is very important in Premium. And that, I think, has always been a reasonable case. Even in like G era, you could say, you know, like fighting on grade 2 to get to your stride has always been an important aspect of the game. And it's become even more apparent in Premium because the minute you are fighting in your grade 2 game, you are fighting for your life, because when you go into stride, you die. There is no other option. But I think this is also a really bad game design aspect. Yeah.
So grade 1 doesn't do anything, and grade 3 is basically death for whoever, you know, whoever goes first and has to play the grade 3 first loses.
Yeah.
And so you just have this very small window of that's the game you're playing. You're just playing grade 2 punch out until one of you decides that they have to go to grade 3, and that's where you decide that that's where the health of your game is.
Yeah.
It's like if all my organs are shut down and my kidneys are still partying it up, like, hey, we're doing okay. Thanks, but your heart and your lungs are out of gas.
Yeah, that's right. It literally reduces the rest of the game to a formality, in my opinion, because once that part is over, you might as well just scoop and just call it a day. Because
why are we playing grade 2 Vanguard that game?
Yeah, that's right. And then we just eliminate the later part of it, and we'll just play up to that, and if you win, you win, and then we all go home and everyone's happy.
Hey, at least it saves me on $70 Ultimas that I'll never get to.
Yeah, that's right. So, again, this is just... Even the small positives that can be taken from this format right now seem like a very big negative when you view it under certain lights. And I think that is a very concerning issue. When you have to, like... you know, oh, there's this kind of nice thing going on in here, you know, we can make it work. You know, this is like, why are we ignoring the gigantic fire behind the rabbit that we're looking at that's kind of cute? You know, it's like, okay.
It's concerning, at the very least, and incredibly bad decisions.
Yes.
At the top end.
Mm-hmm. Really, really bad. And I think one of the things that really could have mitigated this, with the Premium Collection 2019 specifically, is if we had gotten commensurate increases in the power of G-Guards. I think would have really helped this. Obviously, it might not have been like an entire fix. We could speculate until the cows come home in regards to this. But that being able to have a decent amount of defense to this ridiculous offense would have at least stemmed the tide and not made it so ridiculous. Because otherwise, what's the point in having a 16-card G-Zone when you only need one card in there, technically two, I suppose, to flip another one with all of these effects. So, yeah, and then you're done. You know? So, why have the rest of your zone? Like, this, again, just reduces a lot of parts of these games to a formality. They just exist there, but you're never going to use them.
Exactly.
Like, think about the power level of GB8s right now. Like, how sad are they looking? I mean, in the first place, they weren't super great.
Think about the power level of progenitor dragons that don't even need to be used.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
first stride is too late.
Yeah. It's just, oh, this thing that can give me free stride. Why do we need free stride when I only need one stride? Like, that's great for you.
So, with all that being said, if you look at this in an objective format, just to summarize, a lot of these decks are really degenerate and unfun and just terribly non-productive ways. They don't help the health of the game. They actively punch it in the face until it falls over and then waves a little flag that says, "But my grade 2 game."
Yeah.
So moving forward, how do we address these issues? Because we at Team Absolution like to present solutions, not just problems. Commensurate G-Guards, sometimes. Commensurate G-Guard, hey, sometimes it's just like, yo, go fix that.
Yeah.
Go do that now. It's the only solution we need to provide.
Sure.
Look back at our previous controversial rant content.
Yeah.
So commensurate G-Guards are one way.
Sure.
But even I don't feel like that's the best way to handle things.
Okay.
I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, we probably need to start looking at ban lists. Because, you know, like it or not, Yu-Gi-Oh! Uses ban lists to great effect for the health of their formats. And honestly, when you make a format degenerate on purpose, ban lists are probably the best way to go about it.
Really, yeah. And it's also effective, like, you have a non-rotating format now.
Yeah.
Cards are just going to keep flowing in to that format. And things are going to get crazier and crazier when there's just X number of interactions that just keeps getting multiplied by the number of cards that are getting brought in.
You, Dark Regulars.
That's right. Castillo, we'll see you soon. So, yeah, that is definitely a good way to stop things. Because we've actually never had an outright ban, technically. We've had, like, pseudo-bans, like Barkball can't be used as your Vanguard, starting Vanguard, different things like that. But we've only ever, I think, seen restrictions up to one.
We've seen restrictions of can't play in the same deck as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That technically counts.
Yeah.
But that's only when Bushiroad's own game design just gets in the way of their future game design.
Yeah. So
I feel like with an Eternal format happening, and with the continuation of its support as, you know, at official events, if they make premium product, they're going to keep having premium events. And this problem, like we said, is only going to multiply.
Yeah.
With an Eternal format, you need to create some sort of ban list. And honestly, I think the main culprits are probably going to be some of these stands that allow you to do simply ridiculous things, or possibly even the new cards that they're printing now.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, even if you can do only one copy of them, that even if they can kill you first stride, if they're not in a position to do so, they at least wait and you get a couple extra turns. I feel like without banning something, the game only gets worse.
Yes, I would agree with that.
As much as I enjoy Eternal formats a lot of the time.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not a fan of the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Does their game, but Bushiroad is now printing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what they're making. I feel like hitting it with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bat is probably just the best way to go about it, unless they can find a better solution than I. Bushiroad, I hope that you are a smarter man than I. I hope that you know what you are doing with your infinity years of card game experience, and yet you're making mistakes. That's what this video is about, is you made a mistake. I would like to see how you fix it. I'm offering some suggestions. Are they great? No, but I think playing yourself into a corner like this, getting out of the corner is a lot tougher than getting into it.
Definitely. It also makes me think, right now you bring up the Konami / Bushiroad reference. You know the Scooby-Doo meme? Where, like, the ghost mask.
No, let's see who you really are.
It's just Konami.
It is.
But there was another point that I wanted to bring up, and I just thought about this, is one of the big things about Eternal formats is having sustained growth in the player base, because it's very easy just to have the players that already existed and have the cards, but sometimes you just need to have new players like coming into your format as well to keep it going. Well, Premium is extremely uninviting to new players. Like, imagine if you sat a friend of yours down, and obviously, like, in essence, Eternal formats are going to be harder to get into than, like, the standard-esque format, or whatever thing it's going to be. That's just the nature of the things. There's more cards, there's more interactions to worry about, whatnot. But if I sit down from across you and I blow you out with Azel because you didn't even know what you were doing and you were trying to learn the format, who would want to play that?
How would you learn that?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to learn about the subtleties of the Grade 2 game ever
when
from
you're
that.
just being smacked around. You're like, oh, so. Plus, if you're trying to teach them the rules, there are entirely different rules to Premium.
Yeah.
You have to worry about Stride and G guarding and Hearts and potentially Legion.
That's true.
Yeah. Which we haven't seen the likes of in multiple years. 3 to 4, if I'm not mistaken. We are a long way away from Legion.
That's right.
And all of these rules now exist, and stand triggers, and just things you have, recurring PGs, GB1. God knows.
There's a really lot of things.
God knows what else I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
And then you have to learn about all of these new cards, all of these new rules, and then the format just kills you by first stride.
Yeah, and you didn't even know what you did wrong. And what fun is that? Like, there are definitely strong decks in other Eternal formats, but, you know, if I play against Jund in Modern, you know, they're going to interact with me, they're going to do certain things, but I think I've got a stake in the game while things are played. I'm not just like, oh, I'm doing my thing, and then suddenly I died, and I don't know what happened, you know? It was like, oh, my opponent took away my big threat. You know, I misplayed this thing and I died. It's like, oh, I can very easily see X, Y, and Z why I died. The other thing is just like, well, I was playing and then suddenly...
And then I got hit by a car.
Yeah, that's right. Just out of nowhere, just John Cena into this game. So, yeah, there's just a host of issues that I see that Premium Collection has really compromised. Yeah, and exacerbated the longevity of this format. And if something isn't done about it, I think we could see Premium going downhill pretty quick, and it already wasn't doing the best in the world. You know, it has its support. It's definitely like, you know, it's always getting about 100-ish players. Most of them are just getting the gift markers, you know who you are, from the Bushy Regionals. But there is definitely a dedicated fan base that I think is slowly going to trickle his way, because there's only so many times you can sit across from Luard and have him take 20-minute turns against you. So there's so many times that you just couldn't guard against Ishikishima and you died. Or got smacked in the face by Victor 20 times and you died. And then repeat ad nauseum, Azel strode against you while you were on grade 2 and you died. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about everything that I have to bring up in regards to Premium.
It seems like a short-term gain, long-term loss for Bushiro and the Premium Collection. Premium Collection sparked a lot of interest. I honestly built Ichikishima because I'm like, this deck seems really cool and fun for me, and fun for me only, and fun for nobody else, and oops, nobody wanted to play with me, and now I can't play Premium anymore. And now I have this useless, expensive hunk of cards that I can't get rid of. And I just translate it back into Standard, and I go back to being a Standard player, and Premium dies.
Yeah.
So in the long term, it's looking bad, and I'm interested to see how they'll fix it now that we've seen the meta shake out.
Definitely. So I know, having said all of this, we've given you guys a lot to think about. I'm sure everyone is already typing furiously on their keyboards in regards to...
Oh, they've been commenting since we mistook John Cena for Randy Orton.
No, yeah. Oops. So, yeah, I'm going to be curious to hear what everyone's opinions are in regards to this. You've heard ours. We're going to see what happens next.
I'll see you in the comments. Peace.